would you want to be? What would you do if you were not afraid what people thought of you? And what would you do if you were not afraid whether it would work out or not? And immediately I understood my message, my branding, the program, the pricing, everything. It's like in the next millisecond, because I understood that I need to stop fitting in a boxes.
Yeah.
And I need to, essentially the message was, look, you're reading all the spiritual books on a planet. Share business and spirituality. That's all you need to do. Bang. But of course, so I had to come out of spiritual closet, so to speak.
Welcome back to the Balance Boldly podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, balance and relationship advisor, partnering with you to change the narrative so we can amplify intimacy within and across your relationships so you can have the freedom, flexibility, and confidence to thrive in work life and in love. My personal mission for this and every episode of the Balance Boldly podcast is to serve you with the tools you need for moving beyond just barely surviving the burnout of work life, over those narrow hills of imposter syndrome, and through the barriers preventing you from being and doing greater. We are in it, y'all. We are in the midst of season 17. I am so grateful, so thankful, and so honored that you guys have been showing up and showing out with us. We are in our 17th season of the Balance Boldly podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. This is extremely exciting as we are in this 2020 year. Just so honored, and I can't overuse the word. I'm just so honored that God has allowed me to be here, that the universe has created such a space for me and for my gifts and for all of you to be able to be served by them. I am just completely pleased and thrilled in so many ways, which is why I'm excited, of course, as always, overusing that E word, to be here in the midst and in the middle of season 17, which is all about literally being all in. This morning, we have all the way from London, a beautiful woman. Like, I am in love with her pictures already. I think I've complimented her at least 3 times this morning on how gorgeous she is, and her energy just kind of comes across the screen. It's breathtaking and phenomenal, and I know her professionalism is just as superior as her image, which is amazing. I want to invite you to take a breath with me. Let's just take a beat, take a breath, and get excited for someone who is doing phenomenal work in the world. Born in Slovakia, Lenka Lutonska moved to the UK at just the age of 19 with a dream. That's what she was doing, the same as all of us. She had a dream to change the world. From humble beginnings working for McDonald's, she is now an international business and mindset strategist for women entrepreneurs, the author of Energetic Selling and Marketing, an international trainer of NLP, a professional speaker, and a passionate believer in every woman's right to have a life and business she truly loves. Could there be no better place to invite Lenka Lutonska than the Balance Boldly podcast? Welcome, Lenka.
Thank you, Naketa. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I know I've already said that to you like 8 times. Like, I'm excited that you're here.
Likewise.
Right? It's because as normal, I've done the professional stalking that I'm supposed to do as the interviewer, just to make sure that you are everything that you look like you are across your digital footprint. And you are. So I'm just thrilled to have you be here for our audience and to tell them just a little bit more about what you do and how you do it in the world.
Of course. Well, I'm a mom of 3 boys, wife to a wonderful husband, and a woman who once was a girl with a big dream, and I just went after it. And today I'm blessed to be working with plenty of ambitious women entrepreneurs and helping them to, it's a little bit of cliche, but really truly step in our power and be confident enough to follow our calling and to serve at our highest level and live at our highest level. So that's in a not very big picture what I do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I hear you when you say, like, it sounds a little cliche, but isn't it the reality that that's exactly what we need, right? Like, to step in our power. Because,
Absolutely.
right? So many of us we either forgot it or never knew it.
Yes, and it's incredibly hard when we feel disconnected from that dream of making an impact, running a business. It feels like it's so disconnected. So it really requires us to really step into power, to recognize just how powerful we are and that we are light every step of the way. So yes, it is blinking important.
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. So I'm curious, what was your dream? Like, what was your original dream when you wanted to? Because we say that, right? Like, I just want to help. I want to help.
I know, right?
Right? Like, what was it for you?
Yes, a little bit like that. Change the world from a little from a teenager. I wasn't a very happy teenager. I my father physically abused me. I had bulimia. I had suicidal thoughts. You name it. I was a troubled teenager. But what helped me most back then is actually help other troubled children. So I did it through informal mentoring, stories, art. And so I knew even back then that I want to change the world, quote unquote, by helping people in some way. I didn't have a clue how.
Yeah.
But then the life brought me here to UK. And I paved my way, studied everything and anything I could about the human mind. And the time came when I felt ready and equipped to work in people with a powerful way. It started as NLP training and coaching, and it evolved into what is it today. Part way through my business, I fell flat on my face when I managed to bring my business to the ground. Which was a really eye-opening and heartbreaking experience. And what followed were 2 years of absolute struggle.
Yeah.
In every sense of the way, even in my relationship, financially, identity-wise, and getting out of that. And it's not even rebuilding the business, but building myself and my new business in a new way gave me a whole new way how to work with people, because I lived that experience and I had to really dig deep into my, if you like, spiritual nature. So I can bring so much more than I could ever used to before. But that's, in a nutshell, what brought me to do what I'm today. So it's a little bit of life was preparing me, I guess, just like life is preparing all of us to do our best work.
Absolutely. And you're 1,000% right. That part of the survival part of it. And I mean, you've obviously had to survive many different layers of your life, right? From the abuse as a child who was being controlled by a bully through, all the other layers that you had to kind of grow through to get to this place where you finally feel like you found your footing and you have a business now and you're like, okay, I've started it, I've done it. And then trouble hits the business waters, and God knows I've been there, because everyone who's been listening, I tell my story of losing $100,000 in the first 6 months of business all the time. Like, it was literally the first 6 months. And that changed everything. I almost got a divorce. We lost our house. We had medical problems. I mean, it was like, you name it, it was stuff happening. And it all didn't happen in that short moment. It was like the couple of years after those bigger incidents that were happening through and around the business were impacting our life, my love life, my relationship with my kids, my relationship with myself, my relationship with my friends. So I get it that's where you feel like you got your training at, was in the darkest place that you had been as an adult. The darkest place you had been was really training ground. It was like war to prepare you, or battle for preparing you for the war that would be to win other people over and to really help them do their best self, and to be their best self and to do the best thing that they could in their life. That's so powerful, and it makes so much sense, Lenka. Like, I think so many people could relate to you for that, truly.
Yes, and Naketa, what a coincidence, we have so much similar in our when we're in the middle of it, it's so horrible. It felt like never blinking ending story of struggle. But again, I I recall very clearly what helped me to not only get through it, but get so much out of that experience is to ask myself, what was the reason for this? As in, I really took a full responsibility for everything, which is very hard, even when we think things are coincidental or things were done to us. And because what happened is, in my instance, and it doesn't really matter the details, but I essentially went into informal business partnership with somebody who managed to wipe out all my social media presence, database, money. So it was done to me, if you like. So I find it very, very difficult to get over that. My goodness, if it didn't happen to me, I would be so much happier, so much more successful. I would be safe. I don't feel safe right now. I need to financially struggle, blah, 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 and putting a cause at him. So, but what really helped me, and then obviously my relationship struggled as well for a little while, which was horrendous because my husband is the most incredible man. And so what helped me to start asking myself, what is the reason for this? As in, I must have allowed it in some way, even though if it was unconscious way, must be some way I can take a feedback and grow out of this. And indeed it was. And it was that I was unconsciously giving power to other people.
Right.
That I didn't have just a self-worth developed yet to believe that I can do whatever I want, and it's calling me, and it's aligned with my purpose myself. And then I was asking myself, what might be the purpose for it, which is always positive. Now, back then I mind read it, but now, and I'm sure you can agree with this, Naketa, looking back, I knew that the life was preparing me to connect with all the struggles entrepreneurs go through, and deal with them powerfully, as well as really tap into the whole of who we are.
Absolutely. Hands down. It literally prepared you for the work that you were meant to be prepared for. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Lenka, when did you decide, or what, and maybe not even when, but what, if you remember, if you tap back into that moment when you were, at the bottom, you went through your few years of struggling, kind of in the valley, and now you're climbing back up the mountain and constantly sliding back down, but all the things that happen with the pivots and the repivots and all of that happens. When did you say, screw all of this, I am all in right now?
It wasn't a one specific event, it was a series of events, but there were two that caused me to do that, allowed me to do that. So the first event happened when I was still searching, what is my place in the world? I mean, I've worked in past with so many people, with so many problems, and corporates and entrepreneurs. Now, what is my work? Why is it so hard? So what do I need to do so it's not so hard, but it's easy? What's my place here? And as I was contemplating on these questions for a while, one sunny day in my garden, I was asking the same thing. And a question occurred to me. And it sounded like, well, would you want to be? What would you do if you were not afraid what people thought of you? And what would you do if you were not afraid whether it would work out or not? And immediately I understood my message, my branding, the program, the pricing, everything. It's like in the next millisecond. Because I understood that I need to stop fitting in a boxes.
Yeah.
And I need to, essentially the message was, look, you're reading all the spiritual books on a planet. Share business and spirituality. That's all you need to do. Bang. But of course, so I had to come out of spiritual closet, so to speak, because up to that point I wanted to be professional, taken seriously, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
So that was a big one, because after that I immediately brought into the marketplace my first high-level offering, and it was sold out within 2 weeks. So that was a big eye-opener for me, and I really was ready to go all in. But that wasn't all. Somewhere around that time, I got one client and we took a picture together after one of our sessions. We were in a beautiful hotel. And when I look at that picture, I was so ashamed, Naketa, because her body language was really tall and confident, power pose.
Yeah.
Me, her coach, was crunching down. I was making myself smaller.
Mm.
And I look at it and I was thinking, wow, I am still making myself small. I'm still playing small. I'm not all in. And because of that picture, I knew I need to think much bigger, risk on myself, bet on myself, and take not just the small steps anymore, take big leaps. So that caused me to go really all in, meaning I closed everything and anything that I had offline. So any steady income, which wasn't very much, but it gave me at least at that point a little bit security. I closed it all very abruptly, and I transitioned my business online with no basis really.
Yeah.
And it paid off. And it paid big style.
That is so amazing. And oh my goodness, I feel like there is a portion of my life or pieces of it as an adult that literally are mirrors of what you're saying, right? Like, it's so amazing how we attract so many people that are on the same wavelength with us, whether that's a good or a bad thing. In this case, it's a good thing. But I'm listening to you, like, I can't even imagine how many people are going to be helped just by hearing your story, because it's powerfully transparent and authentic. And the reality is you stepping into your truth right now and being all in with your share and not holding back. That in and of itself is part of the medicine, part of the remedy that helps other people who might be, when they're listening to this, regardless of how much money they have in the bank or what their title is at work or whether or not they've had, multiple portfolios filled with successful businesses or not, we all go through that space when we reevaluate and say, why am I still playing small? Why am I not being bigger than what I am right now? And not because you're not grateful for what you've achieved, and not because you're, feeling like you can't be content, but because you know that you became complacent and it's not the space that you're supposed to be in. It's not the territory that you were designed to take over. You stopped at a place along your journey that was just meant to be a part of your path, and you thought that was your domain. And then when you looked in that picture, right, and you saw it, you were like, wait a minute, I'm clearly not as powerful as I'm supposed to be in order to help as many people as I'm supposed to help. That little girl with that dream to change the world has not arrived yet, regardless of what the bank account looked like at that point, or, what, the momentum that was created for you at that point. You knew in your heart that you weren't playing at the level that you were trained for at that point. And the fact that you could open yourself up to that awareness and really trust that the next part of your journey would open up to you by being more uncomfortable and doing something even more different by going completely digital, right? Like that's incredible. And I salute you. I salute you.
Well, thank you very much. And I think this is very important for all of us who want to make big impact in the world or simply run very successful businesses. What I learned from it, by all means, it wasn't comfortable, but I learned through experiences such as this and taking those bigger leaps and bigger risks. What I learned to trust is that intuitive calling that we know is calling us so strongly. It's not just some vague idea that might or might not happen, but I learned to trust that it's real, it's as real as the table I'm looking at or the chair I'm sitting on. It's real, it's just not experienced by me fully. And the reason why I feel that calling is because essentially God or universe, call it what you like, wants to express itself through me in that way right now. So we've got to honor it. We've got to honor it, because what feels to us as uncomfortable and scary, that is only part of our mind that perceives things like this, the physical mind, the program mind that brought us to where we are today. But in the larger scheme of things, that which may feel to us as unknown, scary, uncomfortable chaos, that's actually a field of infinite possibilities where we truly can create anything that is calling us, if we just trust that we will be shown every step of the way, that we are deeply supported.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. Bigger leaps, bigger reward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is amazing. Oh, this is so powerful. So with all the big that's happening in your world, and you're doing big things, you're reaping bigger rewards, so you're able to help more people. How are you giving yourself permission to pause?
Well, first and foremost, I would say that I've learned over the last few years since I'm running an online business, that especially for us women and men, of course, as well, it is one of the most important things, if not the most important things to do in the business, is to give ourselves permission to pause and put ourselves first. Because what happens if we don't, we are stuck in what I call by me mentality, meaning pushing, pulling, working hard, and we can achieve results, absolutely, but it has got its limits. It's we get exhausted, right? We get overworked, burned out, and there is only so much we can take on our shoulders. Giving ourselves pause, rest, time to reflect, and everything else inevitably leads us to what I call through me mentality. In other words, we will start letting the inspiration, again, you might call it what you like, flow through us. And we should not struggle to achieve great success. We can be led, but it can only happen if we allow ourselves to get out of our minds. So for me personally, I do it every day as getting out of my mind, meaning every morning, whenever I can, at whatever time I can, I start my working day with simply giving myself a little bit of time to journal. Sometimes I have 10 minutes, sometimes half an hour, but just a little bit time to journal. And I connect with where I'm going, with my calling. And from there, I ask myself, what is my part in this? I ask for inner guidance, if there's any specific things I need to do or not to do. Apart from that, I take weekends off. I'll make sure I don't work any more than 5, maximum 6 hours a day. And I honor that I've got to be rested and happy and full and with family, because this is only way how can my business and impact become limitless without me exhausting myself.
Absolutely. 1,000% agree. We are sisters across the country oceans. And taking care of ourselves. It's so crucial and so beneficial on so many levels. And I'm grateful that you shared all of it, because that's really good to take that time to reflect and really connect with the world in a spiritual way, to make sure that you're still connected to the vine that guides you, and making sure that you're still in alignment with your own dream and not getting caught up in others by just kind of doing instead of being, and allowing yourself to have everything that needs to flow through you. That's really powerful. So how can people connect with you, Lenka?
Well, I have a website, lenkalutonska.com. I have book website, energeticselling.com, but perhaps the best place to connect with me is on Facebook. I have a wonderful, very active community group called Freaking Amazing Women. So that's where I network with my freaking amazing women.
I love the name of that, and I'm going to join the group. I love it so much. Freaking amazing women.
Yeah. Freaking amazing.
Yes, like don't come if you're not freaking amazing. I know that's right.
Everyone does.
Oh, you are so amazing. Thank you so much for carving out time for our audience today. Your story, your transparency. I am so grateful that you just showed up fully.
Thank you so much, Naketa. I absolutely enjoyed it. And thank you so much to your dear listeners for playing with us in this way today.
Absolutely. Woo! Balance Boldly listeners. Was Lenka Lutonska not like the best ever? She's so high-spirited, and clearly it makes sense that her book is energetic selling because she is full, energetic selling and marketing, because she is full of energy, which I appreciate on so many levels. And if any of you are hosts or facilitators or trainers or speakers or have any part in the world where you have to stand in front of other people and really, be pulled on and pull from their energy, you know how important it is to have someone like Lenka just show up fully and be present and be ready. I'm so excited that I had an opportunity to be in her energy space and to create this safe space for you guys. So thank you again, as always, for tuning in. If you like what you heard of the Balance Boldly for Ambitious Women in Business and a Few Brave Men podcast, make sure you subscribe, rate, and share to help us ensure that the other ambitiously bold and brave have access to these valuable life, love, and business balance tools. And in normal play, if you haven't already connected with me, I'm at Ask Naketa on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Just come and play. And be mindful to carve out some time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, weekly on Thursdays. We are live with Let's Talk Intimacy, the live stream for all things personal intimacy matters. So make sure that you tune in for that. And if there happens to be a Thursday when I'm not available live, then check out the replays that are on YouTube, because it's important. And YouTube is Naketa Thigpen on YouTube. So make sure you go there. Until next time, I want you to go create your balance, create your joy, but remember, people, do it boldly. Thank you for listening.